Perhaps the fastest growing genre of lacrosse in Canada over the past 25 years or so has been women's field lacrosse, aided immensely by the contributions of our final inductee in this year's Builders category. She was introduced to the sport playing in the backyard with her brothers, played box lacrosse from 1978 to 82, then discovered field lacrosse. She was a member of the Canadian women's squad preparing for the 1986 World Cup and played from 1985 to 87 with the Ontario provincial team, winning silver medals in 1985 and 87 and bronze in 1986. It was after the 1987 National Championship that she realized that work had to be done to expand the women's lacrosse base in Ontario and beyond, and from 1988 to 2017 performed a myriad of roles, all geared toward reaching that goal. From 1988 to 92, she was the Women's Sector Chair for the Canadian Lacrosse Association and represented Canada at IFWLA, which stands for International Federation of Women's Lacrosse Associations. Got that right. They've changed their name, thank heaven, to a shorter name. Represented Canada at IFWLA conferences in Toronto, which she convened, Perth, Australia, Ursinus, Pennsylvania, and Oakham, England. From 1992 to 98, she convened the first women's field event at the Ontario Summer Games and the following three events. She was the OLA's Women's Field Commissioner from 1988 to 2005, and under her leadership, women's programs grew from 4 teams to 3 leagues, over 30 teams, and over 1,500 players. From 2005 to 2013, she was the director of the CLA's national team program and sat on the FIL, I guess that's a new shortened name, competition committee from 2009 to 2017. Her coaching resume is equally impressive, having coached at the club, provincial, and national level. She has led both the Orillia U19 and senior women's teams, as well as both the Ontario junior and senior teams, leading the junior team to 4 consecutive national titles between 1994 and 97. At the national level, she was head coach of the Canada East team at the 1994 Commonwealth Games in Victoria, where lacrosse was a demonstration sport, and was an assistant coach of Canada's U19 team at the 1995 World Championship in Haverford, Pennsylvania. She took over as head coach of the U19 team in 1997 and led the team to bronze medal positions at both the 1999 World Championship in Perth, Australia, and the 2003 tournament in Towson, Maryland. An NCCB, a National Coaching Certification Program Master Course Conductor, she also mentored many beginning coaches for some 15 years. Her multitude of contributions to the game have not gone unnoticed, both provincially and nationally. In 1998, she was the recipient of the OLA's Tip Tether Award for Outstanding Service to the Sport, and in 2002 won the CLA's Lester B. Pearson Award. In addition, she was inducted into the Ontario Lacrosse Hall of Fame in 2020 and the Orillia Sports Hall of Fame in 2021. A builder as a player, coach, and administrator, her contributions to women's lacrosse have enabled legions of young ladies to fall in love with the game just as she did. A true builder in every respect, Joanne Stanga.
Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight to honor your family, your friends, your teammates, colleagues, and maybe even a hero. It sure means a lot to us. To the class of 2022, congratulations. I'm feeling what you're feeling. So honored to be part of all this and speaking here tonight. And to the Hall of Fame board, thank you for your diligent efforts in bringing recognition to the people in the game of lacrosse in Canada and for putting on this great evening for all of us to celebrate and enjoy. I know that many of you here are very much like me, and the first time someone threw you a lacrosse ball and said, "Catch," and you did, you were hooked. I got my start playing box lacrosse 45 years ago on the first girls team in my hometown of Orillia. 20 years later, I was able to go back and help out with the Orillia program when they started their first field lacrosse team for girls. I'd been commissioner for women's lacrosse in Ontario for about 10 years by then, and we'd been working on a lot of developmental initiatives from house leagues to school programs and finally, the first provincially sanctioned league at the under 20 level in '97. Orillia was one of 8 clubs competing in those first under 20 provincials. The championship trophy was named in my honor that year and unveiled and presented by Carol and Wes Patterson, along with a few of my dearest friends in the game. Carol and Wes were the most important mentors for me through the 80s and 90s when we were setting a lot of the foundational pieces for the program. Fast forward another 20 years to an incredible evening in Oshawa under the lights when I was invited to present the Stanga Trophy following the championship game to the 2016 Under-19 champions, Orillia. The game of lacrosse does this to you. Our stories get all woven together and so often intersect with people we played with or competed against or met along the way. When I moved to Toronto after graduating university, I worked at the OLA office for a few months, and that's where I learned about field lacrosse. I only played for 3 years with the Ontario provincial team in the 80s, really the only team in operation at the time. But that first year, I played with 2 future Canadian Hall of Famers, Carrie Hartle, class of '07, and Gail Cummings, class of '08. The second year, another one of my teammates was a very young Troyan Santos. Little did I know I was surrounded by greatness. You can maybe see how I got inspired very early on. We battled against BC in each of those years at Nationals, the most dominant team in women's field history in Canada. So good, in fact, they were inducted as a team into the Hall in 2014. My story continued with several members of that team. I worked with Karen Blake at the CLA level and with national under-19 programs, and Michelle Boyer, inducted a second time as a great player in the class of 2020, is someone whose path mine continues to cross for collaboration. And another was Trish Nicholson. I was pretty lucky to get my national team coaching start as an assistant for Trish with Canada's under-19 team at the first World Championships in '95. I absolutely loved the experience, due in large part to Trish, who always made it fun and always made me laugh. We missed out on the bronze in a double overtime final against England, but it pretty much solidified my passion for coaching and continuing to develop players at the provincial and national level. As great as they were, none of the players from my era would ever have dreamed about the Hall of Fame. The game just wasn't able to give them the spotlight they deserved at the time. But young girls and women today have so many more opportunities to be involved and really make their mark. And they're doing just that. You'll be seeing a lot more of them here soon, I'm sure of it. And that's what I'm most proud of, having been part of this wonderful evolution. I want to leave you with one thing to do. Think of the person who tossed you the first ball and thank them if you can. And if you have the opportunity, keep the ball in motion. Don't hesitate to toss it over to someone who you want to have the best experiences of their lives. Catch!
Ladies and gentlemen, Joanne Stanga.